what's up everybody? Welcome back to another podcast. Live from Studio 1B in Jacksonville, Florida. Please give a round of applause for your host, Trevor, and welcome back to another MMA Breakdown podcast. What is up, my people? Welcome back to another MMA Breakdown podcast for Monday, July 21st, 2014. I want to say this. Everybody keeps talking about Holly Holmes coming into the UFC, which is a cool thing because she's been competing with the best of the best, and she's a professional boxer that's been knocking people out and beating people down. But everybody's like, no, son. She's not the lady that's going to beat Ronda Rousey. It's Gina Carano. Why do people think Gina Carano is the woman to beat Ronda Rousey? Ronda Rousey has been fighting for the last 3 years at the top level, and she's dominated women from bell to bell. And you think someone who hasn't fought since like 2008 is still going to be relevant in the world of mixed martial arts? Let me go look at Gina Carano's record right now, and I'll be right back. So, I'm looking at Gina Carano's MMA record, okay? She has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wins in a row. And then loses Chris Cyborg at Strikeforce August 15, 2009. And loses in the first round at 4 minutes and 59 seconds. So, she was a dominating fighter. She won her first fight in 39 seconds by a KO. Wins the next fight by a KO. Goes and wins 7 fights in a row and then loses. So, she's 7-1, okay, as a mixed martial artist. And she hasn't fought since 2009. So, you're looking at a chick who hasn't fought for over 4 years, and you guys are still saying, well, she's the only one that can beat her. Well, she hasn't been competing at a top level, and she was fighting at 145 pounds, and I think at that time she had a hard time making weight. She has 3 wins by knockout, 1 submission, and 3 decisions, and then 1 beatdown, and Chris Cyborg's the one to beat her down. So why does everybody think Gina Carano deserves a title shot? Is it because she was the face of women's MMA? She was the woman that everybody loved? I think it's because she was the Ronda Rousey of her day. I mean, seriously, guys, I'm not considering bullshit you and say that I think Gina Carano has a chance to win against Ronda Rousey. I think it's going to be another 30-second beatdown. I think Gina Carano hasn't fought since 2009. She doesn't have a place, and she shouldn't be going into the octagon to fight. The only reason why I think the UFC is even getting her because she's the only other star in the mixed martial arts game. Because nobody knows, if you're just a casual fan, you don't know who Chris Cyborg is, you don't know who Holly Holmes are. You always hear people like, why is Ronda Rousey fighting these tomato cans? And Ronda Rousey's been competing at a high level since she was like a little kid. She did the Olympics, won the Olympics. And you look at everybody else that she's fought, they're just coming into the mixed martial arts game. It'd be like me going in there against George St. Pierre and being, well, I've been training mixed martial arts for 3 years. Yeah, but George has been doing it for like 10 or something like that. And he's going to make me look like a piece of shit. So, what do you guys think? I really don't understand how she's going to get an automatic title fight. You're going above all these other competitors that been busting their ass. And Gina Carano's first MMA fight was June 10th, 2006. And she fought for WEF, whatever that is, WEF. I don't even know what organization that is. And she had 2 Strikeforce fights, and the rest were all Elite XC. So she was fighting when women's MMA was nothing. There was no really weight classes. It was just they would put on a couple fights here and there. You never had a weight class. You never really had a champion. You never really had well, this is a division. Every month you're going to have women's fight. You never really had that in Elite XC or in Strikeforce. And you always had everybody was going for Gina Carano because she was the woman that was dominating. And the funniest thing is the first time she gets dominated, she retires from the sport of MMA. I could see that happening to Ronda Rousey. If she loses her title or loses in a dramatic fashion, she might walk away from the sport. But I don't really want to see this fight, but I just want to get your guys' take on it. Do you guys think Gina Carano versus Ronda would be a great fight, or would you guys rather see Holly Holmes versus Ronda Rousey? Because there's a documentary that MMAfighting.com did with Holly Holmes, and it showed her she was really striking very good. Her boxing was great. The only thing that she would be lacking against Ronda would be the ground game, because Ronda would take her to the ground and try to submit her, because Ronda's not going to stand and bang with a professional level boxer. And I don't think she would stand and bang with Gina Carano either, because Gina Carano is a Muay Thai striker. But if she hasn't competed at a high level for 4 to 5 years, it could be okay. Training in your gym is totally different than training for a real fight. And it is different than... training is different than being in a fucking cage. Because when you're in a cage, that's where your mindset goes out. And everything you train for is out there to go hurt the other opponent so you win. In your training facility, your mindset is not to go beat down your opponent. It's to just train, take it slow, do some shadow boxing, maybe some light sparring. And we don't know if Gina Carano has been training extremely hard since she's retired from the game of mixed martial arts, because sometimes you start doing Hollywood, you don't have much time anymore to do like your hardcore training, because as a top level MMA fighter, you're doing like 5 days a week, 4 to 5 hours a day of training. You're doing like maybe 2 hours in the morning, then you come back at like 6, 7 o'clock at night, and you do another 2 or 3 hours of training. So I really don't see her being that competitive against Ronda. But I think Gina Carano, out of the both of them, is the hotter of the two. She's a hotter chick, and she's 32 years old. So she was a 145 pounder, gonna try to make 135 when she struggled to make 145 back in the day. I don't see that happening, but I don't know. I just gotta let you guys know that's my honest opinion of what's going on. And I still don't really understand this Colin McGregor dude. He reminds you of a Chael Sonnen. He talks the talk but backs it up. And I think he should be getting a title shot. I'm not sure if he's 145 or if he's 155. I'm not exactly sure, but that dude really impressed the hell out of me. But this Saturday is Robbie Lawler versus Travis Brown. And on the same fight card, you have Nogueira versus Anthony Johnson. And Anthony Johnson is a complete beast. I don't know if he can beat Nogueira, but Nogueira's one of those dudes who's been out for a while. But, man, that's going to be a fight for the century. I think Nogueira can get him down to the ground and can submit him. He has Olympic-level boxing. But the knockout power of Anthony Johnson is on par. And Anthony Johnson is on like a freaking 5-6 fight win streak. It's just incredible, this fight card. But the Clay Guida fight, I don't know. I mean, Clay Guida used to be one of those fighters versus Dennis Bermudez. Used to be a fighter that was very exciting. Really a top guy. Used to be swinging for the fences, being very wild. And the last couple of fights, he hasn't been himself. Like the Clay Guida fight, when Clay Guida fought against Gray Maynard, he ran around and didn't look himself. I don't know whatever happened to the dude. The dude used to be very aggressive, very exciting. Dennis Bermudez is a dude who has more decision wins than knockouts or submissions. I'd rather see a guy go for broke and go for the submission or just beat his ass. That's the whole point of the fight, is to beat his ass. That's why when you're looking at the Robbie Lawler fight, you have the 62% knockout rate by Matt Brown versus the 83% knockout rate of Robbie Lawler. That's going to be a hell of a fight. I really don't know if Matt Brown can take this fight and win it, but that's the fight I'm hoping it goes all 5 rounds. But I hope Matt Brown does what he does and wins. I just think Matt Brown deserves a title shot. I mean, he's on like 5, 6, 8 fight win streak. The dude's a fucking killer. But I just wanted to bring that whole conversation up. Do you guys think Gina Carano will be the next women's champion in the UFC, or is it just something the UFC is doing for the money? Because I'm not surprised if the UFC starts just doing it for the cash. Because why would they be bringing somebody who hasn't been fighting in 5 or 6 years back into the octagon if they think, well, Gina Carano, I think she could beat Ronda Rousey? No, you don't, Dana White. You're just doing it because you know it's going to bring fans in and it's going to bring people money. That's all it is. It's like saying you're going to bring Kurt Angle into the octagon when Kurt Angle is almost in his 40s. Yeah, Kurt Angle might be able to hang and bang at the wrestling game with some of these fighters, but that's it. You look at UFC 100 when Brock Lesnar was there. Brock Lesnar is the most drawed pay-per-view of all time. The most drawed athlete in MMA history. Why? Because he was a former WWE superstar and everybody loved him. Was he the most skilled fighter? No, but he was a very aggressive, beastly-ass dude. Beaten Randy Couture for the heavyweight title. Beaten Frank Mir basically twice. Dominated Heath Herring. Heath Herring had like 24 fights and he couldn't even hit Brock once. I think if Brock Lesnar would have never ever got injured, he would still be out there today kicking the living hell out of people. I mean, the only downfall I see with Brock Lesnar is he was afraid to get hit, and it's crazy. He's a 265-pound dude, but he's scared to get hit. I don't know what was up with Brock, but he's the type of dude that can beat someone's ass but not take the ass whooping. I was just like, that's crazy. You had Cain Velasquez beat him down. Then you had Alistair Overeem beat him. I think if Brock Lesnar was very healthy and was never injured, he could have took Alistair Overeem down and beat Alistair Overeem. I just think Brock Lesnar is one of those dudes that's a unique athlete. He's a very fast 265-pound guy, very exciting. He's very emotional. That's why people love what he did for the sport. But bringing Gina Carano back is not bringing like Brock Lesnar. It's not going to... It might sell thousands of tickets, hundreds of thousands of pay-per-view buys, but you're not getting the fight everybody wants. You're not getting like the Mike Tyson Muhammad Ali fight. You're not getting the John Jones Anderson Silva. You're not getting that quality of fight. You're getting like a BJ Penn Frankie Edgar. And I believe that's what's going to happen. You're going to have her come in there, be like, well, I'm here to kick some ass. Woo! And then when she gets in the octagon, she's just going to be beaten down. Clear and simple. So, I will definitely talk to you guys next time. You think it's going to be a BJ Penn beatdown when Gina Carano steps in the octagon? I think so. She's going to have that ring rust. She's going to have the UFC jitters. And what is Dana White going to say after she gets knocked out in like 20 seconds? Oh, I shouldn't even have signed her because she just got beat down. Come on now. Unless Gina Carano's just doing it for a payday. Like, hey, Gina, we'll pay you like $500,000 to fight. Gee, I'll step in the octagon and get a ass whooping for $500,000. Sign me up. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching and listening, as always. Peace.